In this demonstration, we're going to learn how to make a graphical filter to create a terrain model of our corridor or even multiple corridors. To start out, I want to take a look at the template drop on this corridor. So I'm going to select the template and edit it. And if we jump over to the active template mode, I want to go down to the point feature definitions. And just to show you here the definitions that we would be looking for, I want to actually create a terrain model filter to create a terrain across the top of this particular corridor. So we would need the asphalt surface CL, the edges of pavements. We would also need the edges of shoulders, the ground proposed, and then lastly we're going to, for a boundary element, use the limits of construction. And you'll see I have a limits of construction feature override set for the tie down of the ditch back slope as well as a fill slope tie down. And so we have a continuous boundary break line at that location. So let's get started making a graphical filter. Let's go down to our task, and in our terrain model we're going to go to our graphical filter manager. And I've got a new filter here called proposed finish grade that I started, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. We'll start from scratch. So we're going to create a new filter, and we can do this in DGN libs, or in this case example I'm just going to do it in the DGN file, but we're going to make a new filter, and I'm just going to call this proposed break lines, and we'll put FG in there for finish grade. Proposed finish grade break lines. And what we're going to do here is edit this then, and on the editing of the filter I just want to come down to my civil features, and I'm going to pick the features that I want to add that are in this corridor. And you'll see the ones that exist are not ghosted out, and so the first one I want is the center line point. So I'm going to come over and grab the excess asphalt surface center line, which is here. So we'll add that one. The excess asphalt surface edge of pavement, which is here. Excess concrete outside edge of shoulder is here. Excess ground proposed is here. Now I don't want to get the limits of construction yet, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So we'll say finish, and that's going to create a filter for those. And then we want to make another filter, and I'm going to call this one LOC for limits of construction. And for these, we're going to set these to boundaries. And then we'll edit that filter, and I'm going to go pick the civil feature, and there's just going to be one on this, excess LOC. So we'll add that and say finish. Now what we want to do is put these two together as a group. So I'm going to create a new group. I'll just call this proposed terrain model. And let's put FG in there for finish grade. And we then need to select our filters. So we're going to grab both of those and then finish. The last step in the process then is to create the terrain model from the graphical filters. Now, you may want to be in a different 3D file when you do this. That's up to you entirely, but I'm just going to stay here for ease of the demo. But we're going to come up to our task, and we're going to choose to create terrain model by graphical filter, and we're going to select our filter, and you'll see here it's proposed finish grade terrain model. And I went ahead and changed my default model to wireframe just so that we'll be able to see the triangles a little bit. But I've picked the graphical filter here, and I've set a few more things in the tool settings here to remove the slivers. I've set a feature definition and given the terrain model a name. So I just now can go through the prompt. So we'll say append to terrain no, remove slivers, and then data point to accept our selection. And now you will see that we have a terrain model called PFG that represents our top surface. And the nice thing about this particular approach is we can select any set of features we want to along our template and create a terrain model along that boundary. For example, if I wanted to pick these points across the bottom representing the top of dirt, I can do that. I just add those particular features to a terrain model filter and then make a terrain model based on that filter. The only rules are that you cannot do a vertical edge or an edge that goes back on itself. For example, if you were following this path right here, and you see that we have this wedge, so if you came down, let's say that you wanted to follow this path and then come back up over, which, it's not going to be something that would be recommended. I would probably bring this on out and maybe put an extra point in my back slope or something. But you cannot go vertical and you cannot go backwards when you're building your path of points to create these particular terrain models on. So that's the one restriction. But with that set, we can come in just to show you. I'm going to turn on the proposed design contours here. And so you can see now we've got our contours laid over very nicely on our pavement. It's kind of hard to see the ditch contours, but they are showing up that yellow dashed line that represents a major contour there. So that's how we make a terrain model filter and then use that to actually create a terrain model.